Recording from Chester County, Pennsylvania, this is Coast to Coast Sports, your weekly breakdown of the Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams, and NFL teams from around the league. We're recapping last week, previewing what's ahead, and bringing you all the takes in between. Welcome to Coast Sports, Week 16 recap. I'm your host, Mike Carnuccio, alongside the Ryan Jonathan Moore and Corey, the Rams fan. Richard, this episode is sponsored by none other than Restorative Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Thorndale, Pennsylvania, one of the only private physical therapy practices offering one-on-one care with a licensed physical therapist. Call 484-378-7987 to book an appointment today. It's great when you can see my phone.
just no awareness whatsoever.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, whatever. The iPad is dumb because the camera's over to the left side. All right, boys. So today, a little bit later in the show, we're going to get into playoff scenarios. Corey will break some things down for us. And we're going to look at just potential seeding for the Birds and the Rams, potential playoff matchups, and ultimately who we think will end up in the playoffs, specifically in the NFC. We're also going to be breaking down the Eagles clinching the NFC East. First time we have a back-to-back NFC East division champ in 21 years. But today, we start off in a state of mourning for Corey and the Los Angeles Rams. Absolutely choking a 16-point fourth quarter lead to their division rival, the Seattle Seahawks. They take the L on Thursday night, 39-38 final score. Overall, did not have Davante Adams, and you would have to say got to be somewhat encouraged with the game. Matthew Stafford, 29-49, 457 through the air.
Crazy.
Even though they lost, if he's not the front runner for MVP, I don't know who the heck is, and it better not be Drake May. Don't know his name. They had 124 yards on the ground, and then Puka Nacua, the one and the only, 12 catches on 16 passes, targets, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. This man does not care. There was tons of drama.
It fueled him.
Anti-Semitic stuff. I don't know. There was tons.
I
of
love Puka. He's a wild man.
He doesn't care. And
all,
honestly,
all the negative publicity, and I fully expected it to be like a 25-yard game for Puka. People calling him out, and he's probably just had his best game of his career.
He definitely did. And again, with Davante out, you get to see him shine a little bit. We'll maybe give an update on the Davante injury, although I think they're saying he's week to week, and they're going to be cautious with him. I think
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, we could just jump the gun. They're just being cautious with him.
Yeah.
They even said he maybe could have pushed it for this game. He even said he wanted to play. I think the Rams have the playoffs in sight at this point. They've clinched it. They just want him as healthy as he can be.
Yep. So let's go to initial takeaway from the game. Corey, we'll start with you. What's your initial feeling? Obviously, it's a devastating loss. However, was there different feeling that you took away than just
Dan? So what I don't think many people noticed after the game, just because the Rams aren't in the media a ton, they are now because they're playing well, but typically they're not a heavily covered team. The Rams actually fired their special teams coordinator after the game.
Saw that.
And that was probably the best outcome because it's as we've talked about all season, special teams have been a big problem for us. We got a little bit better when we got a new kicker, but as we saw in this game, it's still a big problem. If we were to have won that game, I don't think we would have fired our special teams coordinator. And we could have had a game like this where we lost because of our special teams in the playoffs. So the fact that we're firing our special teams coordinator now, I think is actually putting us in a better position going into the playoffs. The loss sucks, but at the end of the day, it's a divisional opponent. And it's not like we lost to the Cardinals. Like the Seahawks are 12-3. So we lost to a good team, and we got them to overtime. The Rams haven't had a loss this year that has been within or outside of one score. 2 overtime losses. The Eagles lost because of special teams. Forget our other loss, but The
Panthers.
the Panthers, which came down to the end too.
Oh, heartbreaking. All of them.
But this game, it's pretty clear we lost because of our special teams. The They got a touchdown off of a punt return. So you take 7 points away from that, and you're looking at a score of what, 37-30. So, and then before that, it was like 30-16 before they got the punt return for a touchdown. So the
Yep.
defense was holding them pretty well. But what was kind of overlooked is for some reason, every single kickoff we did was like watching a kickoff from 2024. Every single one that went out of the end zone. So we're constantly giving the Seahawks the ball on the 35-yard line. Now the Seahawks couldn't do anything most of the game, but you consider
Mm,
that and you're like, okay, our defense held the Seahawks to 16 points most of the
mm,
game, and they always started on their own 30 or on their 35. Like that speaks compliments to the defense. I don't think I need to even talk about the offense. Offense played well with over 400 yards, plenty
yep.
of points to stay ahead, and in overtime they did what they needed to do. They got the touchdown.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
throughout the game, it was just special team problems after special team problems. The main ones, obviously, the punt return for a touchdown, that kind of brought Seattle back into the game. At that point in the game, we had a 98% chance of winning, and then they ran that back, and it just flipped like that. All the kickoffs is the second reason why we lost, is just always giving them the starting position at the 35-yard line. You're just it's in today's NFL, that's going to be tough, especially versus a good offensive team like Seattle. And then third, at a critical time, we had missed another field goal, which would have put us up 33-30.
Hmm.
Um, and that would have changed. No, it would. I forget what it would have put us
It
at.
would have
When it
put you up
wasn't,
33-30. It was 30 to
was
30
it?
when he missed. Yep.
And that would have changed
There was
the
still
rest of the game.
everyone was saying like the game was over. Well, no, when you guys went up three with like 2.5 minutes left, so there's still plenty of time.
There
But
was, but still
Seattle's
at that
offense was doing nothing at that point.
I was going to say that's what I was going to say. Is still at that point. I mean, Seattle had a couple big bursts of plays, but for the most part, we kept them in check, and I think we would have been able to keep them in check, at least to force them to have to maybe make a field goal. And it was really windy that day too. But at the end of the day, the Rams lost because of their special teams. But like I said, I think the best outcome of this is that we ended up firing our coordinator, and I think it's going to prime us better going into the playoffs.
Yep. Ryan, thoughts? Very well said, Gore.
Yeah, I do agree with Corey. I mean, the Rams have lost, like three one-score games that they easily could have won, that they probably were favored in all three, around 90 some percent at some point.
It's
Um,
40. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I watched this game. Well, I watched the whole second half. I didn't really watch the first half. Like honestly, one of the best games of the year.
Unreal.
And just in terms of like it was back and
Great game.
forth. Um, I definitely think the Rams were for sure the better team.
They are.
Um, and like that, this is the NFL. Sometimes like that happens. Like that 2 point conversion,
Oh my gosh.
absolute trash call. Like
Yeah.
I don't even care if like by law it was correct. Like they do not deserve to.
They
So didn't
no
they
one was
technically
playing it.
blow the whistle? They
That's what I was
blew
gonna
the whistle
say. They
incorrect.
blew the whistle too. So
Yeah.
So they blew the
Yep.
whistle dead when they shouldn't have.
Hmm.
But because they blew the whistle, he shouldn't have been able to pick the ball up. But then they basically said, we incorrect. I mean, they're basically saying we incorrectly blew the whistle early. He wasn't
yeah,
allowed to pick
but
it
at
up.
Hmm.
that point, the play is dead. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
like and we've seen that time and time again. We see it at all levels. Like that
Yes.
happened to me in high school football. I got a fumble recovery and I ran it back, but they blew the whistle dead. So they still gave
Yep.
us the fumble recovery, but like they didn't. I've ran it back all the way to the end zone, but I didn't get a
Yep.
touchdown because they had the inverted whistle. It's just that
Yeah.
stops play. And like it's not like the Seahawks player continued to play the ball and like aggressively jumped on it. He was just picking it up to hand it back to the refs. So, like there was no intentionality behind him like recovering it. Um, and then it's
Such
funny because
trash.
Puka's tweeting all week long that refs only
Yeah.
make calls to get on the TV.
And that was my favorite takeaway.
What a
I love
lie.
I love it when like for example, like Sean McVay was at the podium and he was livid after losing that game, and they're asking him about because Puka had a tweet, how about those zebras or something like that
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
right after the game. And to see Sean McVay trying to process this in real time after being so mad, but it's his star player.
Yeah.
It's it's box
Well,
office.
did
It's
you know
box office
that Sean
entertainment.
McVay had a kid this week too?
Yeah,
So
like,
he's
That's wild.
and they had a short week with Thursday night games. So he had I had
hmm
all the Puka tweeting and drama. We have a game that could pretty much decide the division
Yeah.
hmm
if we were to have won. He had a kid, and they had 4 days to prepare. He probably hasn't gotten any sleep in
Oh
four
my gosh.
days.
Oh my gosh.
Wild.
Yeah, but like
Wild.
my last takeaway is I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. This didn't change anything. Sometimes their corners got burnt a little bit, um, or their secondary, but I think Corey touched on the points. I think if they clean up the special teams, I don't think if they clean up special teams and obviously like just play their complete game, I don't think anybody can beat them. So I'm still not worried about Seattle at all.
Yeah,
Mike, how about you?
I still feel good about it too. I
Yeah.
agree,
Sure.
Ryan.
So as a reminder, after week 4 of the NFL season going to week 5, I took the Rams to go 14-3 and win the 1 seed in the NFC East or in the NFC. So I believe I was actually the earliest one of all of us to make that prediction. And nothing against you guys. You guys have done a great
I'm
job. Just
pretty sure that I
um,
predicted at some point that they'd be 11-4 with a 5-3 away record, with a loss to Seattle in the overtime.
all right.
I have a
Well,
text to prove it.
I'm just saying week 4, after week 4. So they've been the team to me that's been the front runner for the 1 seed from the beginning, and I stuck by that from the very beginning. So I'm not changing on that. Um, the they the thing that's interesting with the Rams is they're becoming experts at just like when I watch the games they lose, I try to like put myself in Corey's shoes and like be a Rams fan. I'm like, dude, they just tear your soul out and just crush it. And I mean, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way they
They are
lose
crushing
is
losses
hard to believe. I'm
Hmm.
like
because
the
it's how
Seattle
good they
game,
look,
the
though.
Eagles game was shocking. The Niners game at home, and it's like the amount of things that happen. It's usually a list of 5 to 10 things like Seattle from the punt, going 3 and out on 3 straight drives, the punt return for a touchdown. It was a horrible punt, horrible coverage. It was one of the worst special teams plays I've ever seen. He literally caught the ball. There was not a Rams guy in sight. I didn't even see the Rams player on the screen until Shaheed was like on the 35-yard line at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I was like, where
And
are the
It was
guys?
terrible. It looked
I
like
and
didn't
high
know what they
school
were doing.
coverage.
yeah,
It was terrible.
It was
and
horrible.
Al Michaels had the worst call of the year
Yes,
during
that was
that.
terrible. It was a terrible
Oh
call.
It,
my gosh. He's done.
he
But
Watch.
also
it's like,
called
dude,
Sam Darnold Sam Bradford like 5 times.
Dude, he's done. Anyway,
it,
continue, Mike.
the amount of things where it's like, dude, oh, they just needed that. Like, as you watch the game, you're like, they
Hmm.
just needed that to go their way, and it didn't. Oh, they just needed that one thing to go their way. And it's like every single thing lines up exactly against them in a perfect order. To
Hmm.
me, it was the same thing against the Panthers because the Panthers converted 4 either fourth downs or third and longs into direct touchdowns. Corey, remember we talked
Yeah.
about that? How
Yeah,
it'd
I
be like a
know.
3rd and 8, and it'd
Yeah.
be like,
They were
oh, 40
playing
yard
press
touchdown,
coverage
fourth
on the
and 4.
corners, and they just on fourth down 3 times they got a touchdown of like 30 yards or more.
Yes. It was like exactly what they
Yeah.
needed at the exact moment. So you start. What gets interesting with this is you could go 2 ways with it. You could say, are the Rams just getting used to like maybe like that happening so they could eventually stop it, or is this the way they're going to lose? Like if they lose, this is how it's going to happen. It's going to be in
That's how
devastating fashion.
I took it as this is my honest thought. It doesn't bother me that we have 4 losses. Like Ryan says a lot, like this is
Sure.
the NFL, it's going to happen. I see it as a positive because our 4 losses, it's had to be like perfect scenarios for us to lose. These
But
crazy
Corey,
things happen over and over again.
when it starts to happen, like if it happened once, okay, twice, okay, 3 times, you start to be like, happens a fourth time, you're like, is this just maybe is there something we do to bring this on ourselves that is like it's going to happen again?
It could. I mean, we
Anything can
obviously
happen
let
at any time.
we let teams back into it in a way, but it's not like some teams that just like, oh, they're playing
Hmm.
cover four defense just to prevent the big play and teams just creep back. Like the
Sure,
fact is it still has had to be these weird perfect scenarios for most of the games where the Rams
it's
have
true.
lost. And I think we have to stick with the statistics still that like, yeah, it might seem on paper that the Rams give it away, but it's not it's not statistically improbable that
Yep.
this could even happen multiple times in the season. It just so happened for the Rams, it's happened
Yeah.
multiple times. Usually teams get one game like this a year,
Yep.
but the fact is like Rams probably I would say the Panthers is probably the closest to a normal loss, or maybe the Eagles, because
Yep.
the Eagles just came down to a field goal that was blocked. But like the fact is like we're still in these games until the end, and I think that's
Sure.
scary for any team that's about to
Oh
play the
yeah,
Rams.
Sure.
totally agree.
I guess Corey. I'm more going from the standpoint of like you guys are clearly, in my opinion. I mean, again, I've stuck with this now for a long time. Talent wise, in the way you played this year, you're the best team in the NFL. I don't even
Oh
think
yeah,
it's a question, right? And especially in a year where there's just it's open, like there's no real dominant team. It's the Rams. The Rams are
yeah.
the dominant team. So to be in a position where if the Niners win tonight and the Niners and Seahawks both win next week, they literally play each other for the one seed. You guys don't even, there's nothing you can do. Like, you don't
Mm.
even have a chance at the one seed. So that's just wild to me because when you're clearly, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL, and there's a decent chance you won't even, you're going to be on the road the entire playoffs. That's just wild. It's wild because that
But
team's almost
Yeah,
always the one seed.
it doesn't change it for the Rams because probably a lot of the home games are going to end up being away for us anyway. So
That is a good point. But like you guys,
it
based
is
on your
crazy
talent
though.
and how you played, you deserve the bye and you
yep.
deserve to be at home, in my opinion. And so again, just because of the way that loss happened and some of the losses have happened, that could be the case. And again, it might not
If
end up
we
that way.
don't get the bye week, I want to play.
Well, you guys are going to Tampa if you don't.
Well, we
I
could
mean,
Carolina.
be, yeah, we could go to
yes, or
Carolina,
Carolina, but Carolina's going to lose to Seattle and they're
but
losing
that's
to
what I
Colorado.
kind of want. Like, if we're
Ridiculous.
not going to get the bye week, that's what I want. I want to be able to go into Carolina or Tampa.
Yeah, which is what'll
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
My last question I would say to you guys on the Rams is:
Hmm.
would you consider the Rams this year the official? I think every year there needs to be this team. And last year to me, it was the Lions. You could do one from the NFC, one for the AFC. So my argument is, this would be my question. Uh, I have Rams and Bills are the official NFC and AFC SBOBs. Super Bowl or bust. If they don't make the Super Bowl, this year was a disaster, in my opinion. That's a hot take. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Yes for the Bills, no for the Rams.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you agree with me on the Bills that because the Chiefs aren't in and the Ravens aren't in, it's like the
Right.
door is wide
Well,
open.
not only that, but the Bills haven't won the Super Bowl yet. I think if the Rams haven't had a recent Super Bowl, I'd probably say both. But the fact is, the Rams have improved. So 2 years ago was a disaster season. Last year was a lot better. This year is even better than last. Like we're trending
Sure.
upward right now.
But I,
I don't.
I counted. So, Corey, here'd be my argument. Sorry not to cut you off. Like the Lions last year, unbelievable year, got
Mhm.
the one seed, fought through adversity. Last year was a disaster for them, in my opinion, because they were just in the NFC Championship game against the Niners. They were the team who was meant to take the next step. And all season, they were the team, and they crumbled in the playoffs. That was a disaster, in my opinion.
I still think the biggest thing for the Rams is the commonality between the Lions and Bills is they haven't won a Super Bowl in forever. This is their year. The Rams don't have that pressure. The Rams
Well, but
won a
it's not
Super
it's
Bowl
not
not
it's not
long
about whether
ago.
you've won a Super Bowl or not. It's how you've looked that year when you're the
But
team
I think it
of
is though.
destiny, quote unquote.
I think it
Okay.
is
You think yeah,
because
you think if you've won a Super Bowl, then all is good.
if you've won one recently, you don't have the pressure of like this is their year, this is their make it or break it year. Like
Yeah.
I
I
think
guess I'm
that's the
considering the
biggest
SBOB.
difference.
To me, what determines an SBOB has nothing to do with you won a Super Bowl or not. It's are you the team that has just looked the best, the most dominant? Like at the end of the day, you should be there in the Super Bowl. And I'm not even saying win it. I'm just saying be there, make it there. And to me, that like the Rams have been
I
that team this year, especially since they went to the divisional round last year. They lost, in heartbreaking fashion to Philly. It's like this year is their year, in my opinion, Like if it doesn't
I
happen
don't
this year, I
personally
just think
see
it's a
it
problem.
as their year, if I'm being honest, especially once you get to the playoffs, everyone's
Sure,
record's gone. I think Eagles are they have a chance just from their experience. They're always, I mean, they've been in the NFC Championship a ton lately.
sure,
Um, I think any team from the West could make a good push. Like it's going to be close
sure,
divisional games between any of the NFC West teams, and chances are there's going to be some NFC West matchup
sure,
in the
sure.
during the playoffs.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's a good chance.
yeah.
Ryan, just based on what we were arguing, what would you if you were to take a side on that? What do you think?
Yeah, so I kind of land in the middle of you. I think to your point, Mike, I think the Lions was so crushing is because they lost their first game in the playoffs. I
Yes.
think if the Lions lost like a nail biter to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, that it would sting less. So yes, if that's the example, then if the Rams lose their first game, then I think it was an extremely
Okay.
like let down. But if the Rams lose a nail biter against whoever, um, I do think it's a letdown, but I don't think it's like to the extent that you're saying. I think the
Sure.
Bills more because I feel like the Bills have the same team every year. It's the same exact team. They're always like 11-4, 10-3. They always dominate.
It's
Like
true. It's true.
Josh Allen runs everywhere, and now they don't have their kryptonite in the playoffs. So it's like when you start seeing the team so much with the same like core, and like the Ravens are like this too. If the Ravens were in it, it'd be the same like the same sentiment.
Yep.
But yeah, like
Okay.
anyway, I think more for the Bills, less for the Rams, but it all depends on how they perform in the playoffs um
Sure.
and and to Corey's point, I do think the championship pedigree goes a little bit into it, and the Bills just don't have that.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it
Okay.
puts more pressure on
Good
those
points. Good
teams.
points. We're going to move on to recap of Eagles Commanders Saturday night in Maryland, not in Virginia, which is where DC resides. So, if that's confusing to you, you should be confused because teams don't
It's
play
so
where they say they're
confusing.
from.
So
Anyway,
confusing.
Birds take the 29-18 dub. Some fights on the field between Tyler Steen and one of their corners because we went for two and should have kicked an extra point. I don't know if that was confusing. Um, Overall, definitely a mixed bag in terms of, I think, response from Eagles fans. Ryan definitely has his opinions. Jalen Hurts with 22 of 30, very efficient, 185 yards, two touchdown passes. Saquon had a buck 32 on the ground. The Eagles rushed for over 200 yards, 40 of them coming from Jalen. AJ Brown, 9 catches for 95 yards, and Devontae Smith and Goddard both with touchdowns. So, Ryan, we're going to start with you. Thoughts on the game as a whole and thoughts on the Birds as a whole.
Yeah, so I watched every single snap. I watched all the commercials. And I was on my phone, so I was so locked in. So I think I have the best
Yeah.
understanding of
Yeah.
the current state of the Eagles.
Sure.
All right, so we are not back. We are not
Okay.
back. I think the Raiders game obviously was awesome, right? We got to experience it. The Raiders are horrible. I do think that was a complete game. I know what Mike's argument's going to be. It's going to be in division rival. We always play them like like head to head, and it's always close, which is true. I do agree, but what I always say, boys, trust your eyes. And my eye test sucked again. It was terrible. Honestly, like it was like the Commanders were winning the game with Mariota. Mariota literally, I think, left the game and no one knew what was wrong with him. I think they were tanking. They were like, "Oh, he's being evaluated for a concussion." And then they show the replay of Mariota getting hit. Nothing to the head. Zero.
Oh, they're just trying to lose.
Zero. Zero. He
Total
literally didn't
Conspiracy.
tank
even he
by
literally
the
didn't even fall down.
Commanders. Genius.
He didn't even fall down. He ran out of bounds and they're like concussion. And I was like, Wiz. And then they were like, oh, it's his like ankle or knee. And then he's on the sideline grabbing his hand. So no one knew. Commanders were purposely tanking. There was two third down conversions that we got via bogus penalty. One got put on the 1 yard line. The tush push is completely dead, by the way. Done. Cam Jurgens, our center, is a ghost
I
of
saw
Jason
that video you
Kelsey,
sent.
a ghost of Jason
It was
Kelsey.
so bad. It was bad.
And one, The positives are our stars played well. Saquon played well. AJ played well. Devontae, besides his one drop, played well.
Good
Jalen
job,
Hurts,
Jonathan.
honestly, played well. But I don't trust the scheme. I don't
Mm,
trust our discipline. I don't
mm.
trust um like I just don't trust it. What I do trust though is our defense can compete with anyone. And to Corey's point, right? If our defense has a game like we did against the Commanders or the Chiefs, we can beat the Rams. Sure, like
Hmm.
defense wins championships, but like they're going to be on the field for so long that they're just eventually going to get burnt. And that's what happened against the Bears. That's what happened against the Giants that one time. We can't hold the ball. Last year was perfect. We controlled the whole clock. Our defense was amazing, barely on the field, and we dominated.
Sure.
So we are not back. I wanted to completely rest the next 2 weeks. I hate injuries. I know we're getting our two studs back. Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson. But what I learned out is that if we lose both of these games and Carolina wins their next two, we get the 4 seed, which means we have to host
Carolina,
the
Carolina
we
beats the Seahawks and the Bucks.
we have to host the
Such a joke
Rams.
of a conversation. Stop wasting our time.
We have to host the Rams, dude.
Stop wasting our time.
But no, sorry, that was super long-winded. We are not back. I'm not out on the Eagles. I I know Mike and I were going back and forth on putting a bet on the Eagles playoff game, which
I definitely
I
think we should. We should put
Which,
the
which,
100%
yes,
on.
which is, I do think we should. I'm not ready to make that bet based on injury and based on what I see the next week.
But I
But
think you're betting against the Eagles. You would want to get the bet in early so that, like, because if we end up playing the Rams, I'm backing out of that bet. I'm not betting on us against the Rams. No. I'm betting us
that's
against the
fair.
Niners or like
That's
I
fair.
don't know.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean, but it's up to you. We can wait and bet on it. Yeah. So my counters briefly
yeah,
to Ryan would be one. Do you guys think the Texans are a good team? They just won 7 games in a row, and they're playoff bound, and they're fighting for their division with the Jags.
I
They have
for
statistically the third best defense in the NFL.
they have a
Have a good defense.
great line with Anderson, but I really
Okay,
don't know much about
I
him.
I don't see
sure,
him as a Super Bowl team. I
but
Yeah.
I
a
see them as
contending playoff team
I see them as a
could win a
contending
playoff game.
playoff team now. I think they've
Sure,
proven themselves to win 7 straight like they have, having a top tier defense. I
sure.
think they've at least proven that they're playoff worthy.
They're a
So
wild card loss, in my opinion.
everyone is going to call the Raiders bums, and they're going to call the Commanders bums. The Raiders just lost by 2 points to the Texans in Houston, in freaking Houston. Now, you could argue, oh, they lost 31 nothing, so they're coming back fighting because of that. I don't give a frick. We won 31 to nothing. So everyone's like going to be like the Raiders. Dude, then why did the Raiders lose by 2? The Texans should have beat them by 40 if they're really a team that is that bad and is giving up on the season. Like if you want to make all that bogus argument, then explain to me the 23-21 win by the Texans. Explain it. Nobody can. They're going to be like, oh,
The
Raiders
Raiders just
fought
had an
hard.
off week during the Eagles.
Okay, yep, there you go. Any team can
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
off week anytime, so that's baloney. Okay, the Commanders just whooped up on the Giants, who are playing hard, and the Commanders came out, get a fumble on the opening play, and they're fired up, dude. These guys are playing for contracts. Sure, they don't have the playoffs to play for, but
And
these guys are still
bonuses.
playing hard. Yeah, and bonuses, these guys are going to play hard. They're going to play their hearts out. Was Mariota coming out a bogus thing? Potentially. But, like, to say again, like, dude, they still have McLaurin and Debo. Like, that's still a good offensive, like, scheme. Now, the defense has been trash. I agree with that. But, dude, look at the. I mean, I understand. I'm not disagreeing on the eye test, Ryan. The Eagles and how they play will not change. It has not changed, and I don't think it will
I
change.
agree
Like
with that.
it's
Yeah.
sloppy. It's the offensive line struggles.
It's
They really
ugly.
struggled to run the ball in the first half. But you got to admit, Ryan. I mean, they dominated time of possession. They dominated first downs. They like the offense moved the ball, and for the last 3 weeks, including the Chargers game, they have now moved the ball very efficiently and very effectively. They've
Hmm.
still had penalties at horrible times. And the offensive line can't do the touch push anymore. I totally agree. So I'm
Done.
not, it's just, but dude, compare to the Bears, even the Lions and the Packers when we won, the offense was so dysfunctional and couldn't move the ball at all. And you guys are going to be like, well, the Raiders and the Commanders defense suck, but dude, they're building momentum. The offense is, and I
Hmm.
think there is an argument for that. I agree with you. The offensive line is what it is. I don't think they're that great. I think they will struggle to run the ball in general in the playoffs because they're actually going to play some good defensive lines. and they're gonna have to work it out. And I still would say when they get Carter back, I think we have the number one or two defense in the NFL. So
Mhm.
I think it's going to be the defense that carries us, just like they did in the playoffs last year. I just watched the replay of the Packers highlights and the Rams highlights. It was the defense that carried us in both of those games. The
Oh
defense
yeah.
created two huge turnovers, the fumble of Corum, and I think Stafford fumbled as well. And those turnovers turned into field goals, not even touchdowns, that then allowed us to. And then we had the big run by Saquon. But the point was, it was the defense that stood strong against the Rams, the defense that stood strong against the Packers early on in the playoffs, not the offense. So if you doubt the defense, that's a different question. But I don't know why you would doubt the defense when we don't even have Carter in, and I think our defense again is a top defense in the NFL. So that would be the rebuttal. We'll pick up from this after the break. We're going to get into playoffs standings, and we'll project who we think is going to make it and who we want to play.
Bring more fun to your rounds with Birdie Board, the golf app designed for matches with friends. Choose the format you love: stroke play, match play, Stableford, with or without teams, handicaps or not. Invite your friends, and Birdie Board does the rest. Just enter your score and focus on the fun, while we keep track of everything, including stats like lowest score and worst hole. Download Birdie Board today on the App Store or Google Play, and let the games begin.
Welcome back to Coast Sports. We are on to our second segment now, where we're going to discuss the playoffs, playoff scenarios. Corey's going to do a breakdown for us of possibilities, and we're going to lay out what we want for our teams and ultimately maybe even what we think is going to happen. But I want to start with a question for both of you guys. One being, do you guys think, which do you think is more important for your team if you had to choose? Being rested and healthy entering the playoffs, or looking elite entering the playoffs? If you had to choose one of those. So an example would be the next 2 weeks, the Rams look unstoppable. They look really, really good, but maybe Puka pulls a calf muscle and he's questionable for their first playoff game, and maybe Stafford hits his ribs. I don't know. Or they look rough the next two games. Maybe they lose one of them, but they're healthy. Devontae comes back, and they end up resting their last game anyway because maybe they're locked at the 5 seed or something. Same for the Birds, Ryan. Win the next two. Things look like they totally change, but like A.J. Brown pulls his hammy, Quinyon Mitchell turns an ankle, both out week to week. It's questionable if they're going to be able to play or be 100%.
Ryan would be questionable to watch the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or
Doubtful, actually.
struggle against the Bills. They look the same they've looked all year, but they don't lose anybody. And Lane and Carter come back. Nakobe's ready to go. They rest against Washington. They take that 3 seed. They're well rested and fully healthy, but it's still just like this is the same old team we've had all year. What would your preferences be? Go ahead, Corey, first.
I knew my answer right off the start. It would be different for another team, but for the Rams, I think the rest would be better. The reason is because that's the type of coach Sean McVay is. So I don't think it would throw off our players too much by having that extra rest. Um, Sean McVay is one of the few coaches. He doesn't have a star to play a single snap in the preseason. He is very quick to rest his starters at the end of the season. He's done it every single year. So I think it's very normal for Sean McVay to do that. And I think the players are used to it so they can come back and not be as affected. However, if I had was choosing it for another team, let's say I was choosing it for the Eagles, I would actually choose the opposite because I think that momentum going into the playoffs would be really strong for the Eagles and could really help them push deep into the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I don't. I want both of them, Mike.
AJ
I don't.
Quinyon are hurt.
I want well, one I like in 2023 it was both, right? Everyone knew that we would get destroyed by the Bucks because of how we looked.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened. And AJ was hurt in like the last week and didn't play. But I don't even think with him playing it would have made a difference. I almost want to I don't know. I you kind of have to be healthy. You have to be healthy. Like, would I rather have Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson back and not look great, or look great and not have them? I think I just based on history, I'd just rather have them and just cross my fingers and hope for the best.
Yep. And that
How about you?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be my argument for every team, actually. No matter what the team looks like or who the team is or what the season's been. I really think at the end of the day, when you get to the playoffs, the primary focus, I think people lose sight of this because they get into this idea of like, man, like we look like this, we look like that. But if you're healthy and rested, I really don't know. Again, like if you didn't have a dominant game in week 15, does
Hmm.
it really matter? And I think history would say no. And I think a great example of that would be the Chiefs the last few years. I really think the last two seasons the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl, they won one, they lost the other to the Eagles. Late in the season, dude, they were so questionable.
Mhm.
But they were healthy, they were rested, and then they just found ways to win games in the playoffs. So I really think that should always be the priority, no matter what.
Yeah.
And as long as you're in those two states, you can make a run, especially if your team has experience, which I would argue right now the Rams and Eagles are the two most experienced playoff teams in the NFC.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you're talking about healthy, rested, and experience, I would argue they're the most dangerous teams in the playoffs. I don't even think it's an argument. Talk about Seattle all you want, talk about the Niners all you want, talk about the Bears all you want. I really don't think it compares. Anyway, Corey, let's lay out scenarios and we can get into more discussion.
All right. So I used the ESPN playoff machine to run through a ton of scenarios. So I'm going to start with probably the least interesting one to us is the pass for Chicago to get the first overall seed.
Such a
I
joke.
I know. Pretty
Okay.
much the NFC West needs to fall apart in some sort of way
Hmm.
for them to get the first overall seed, and they need a win out. And they're playing the
Niners.
49ers next week. And then they close the season with the Lions. And I
Yep.
think the Lions will do everything in their power to mess up the Bears as much as they can. That division has the best rivalries in all football.
And remember, the Niners might
So
be playing for the one seed in that game.
they could be, yeah.
The
Yeah,
Niners
they,
tonight, they are
mhm,
playing that game with a chance to get the one seed in their final game against Seattle.
yeah. Yep. So that's how Chicago can get a first seed. I think it's unlikely. The first seed is, in my opinion, is going to go to an NFC West team. Um, there's scenarios for all the Seahawks, the Rams, and Seattle, and I couldn't really find one for the Eagles and Green Bay. I don't know if you have a scenario that the Eagles could get to first overall.
They
I
don't
couldn't find
have the
one.
ability because Seattle holds the tiebreaker over them, even if
Yeah.
Seattle is the next two.
So we're basically saying the Bears, the Rams, Seattle, or 49ers. So it's pretty much guaranteed the NFC West is going to get the
Yeah.
spot.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about the second one I tried to that took a little bit actually was how to get the 49ers in there. So they need a win tonight. They need a win versus the Bears, and then they
Yep.
need a win the
That's it.
final week. Now, they could have a little less pressure on them if both both the Rams and the Seahawks lost in week 17. But the they only need one loss from us or Seattle, and they win out and they get the first
They
overall
just
pick.
have to win out. That's it.
Yeah.
If
Do
they
you
win
think?
out, because they play Seattle. So if they win out, that they have the one seed. That's it's what's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you saying if San Fran wins out, they get the one seed?
If San
Yeah.
Fran wins tonight, which they should against Philip Rivers, then they beat the Bears, and Seattle beats the Panthers next week, which honestly should happen. Then they will play each other for the one seed in the final week, and the Rams will play a meaningless game. It honestly might be the best thing for the Rams because then they can rest in week 18,
Yeah.
knowing, hey, we're locked at the 5,
So
and we're gonna get ready to play the Bucks and the Panthers, which is we're gonna wipe the floor with them, and then the divisional round.
if the 49ers win out, the Rams win out, the Seahawks would get one win because they would lose to the Niners. We would have Seattle in the sixth seed at 13 and 4, the
Yep,
Rams in the fifth seed at
yep.
13 and 4.
And the
So
Niners
this,
That's
13.
crazy.
So
So
it would be
Seattle would go to Philly.
yes.
The Rams would go to Carolina
I would
or Tampa.
love that because the Eagles would get to host the Seahawks, which I would be fine with. I don't take them that personally in Philly, then go to Chicago, and then the Rams would go upset the Niners and come to Philly in the NFC Championship. That would actually be one of the best case scenarios for the Birds. Ryan's too paranoid about Seattle and the 49ers and the Bears as legitimate contenders. But, if you want to fret over those teams, you can.
So if we just flip the Seahawks and the Niners the last week, the Niners would get the first overall. The Rams wouldn't change.
Yes.
The Rams need help. The Rams do not control their own destiny. The
Which
Rams
is crazy. They've been so dominant.
They need losses from they need a loss from Seattle in week 17. We'll be cheering hard for Carolina. Now they could
the Seattle could beat the Panthers, but if the Niners lose to Chicago, then you guys could get in if the Niners beat Seattle, right?
Yeah. So all right. So if we do,
then the Bears.
You're saying the Panthers beat the Seahawks, the Bears beat the 49ers. Well, the Bears would be in at that point. Well, hold on. No, the Bears would. If the Bears lose to the Lions.
If the Bears end up beating the Niners, it'll be them, you guys, in Seattle playing for the 1 seed in the final week. If Seattle ends up beating the Panthers and you guys win.
So here's that scenario. Okay. If the Seahawks beat Carolina and the Bears beat the 49ers, we go into week 18 with a lot of different options. Obviously, the Rams didn't win, but if the 49ers beat the Seahawks, the Rams the first overall seed. And then if Seattle beats the 49ers, Seattle takes the first overall. Yep. It is so many, honestly, a lot of different scenarios right now that could get teams to the first overall.
So at this point, there's a lot that's going to happen for the Rams. The Eagles are relatively locked in the sense that the only way they get the 2 is if the Bears collapse and lose both games.
Yeah.
And that means losing to a Lions team that's playing for nothing in the last week. And the Eagles also win in Buffalo and win out. So, there's and the Eagles also, it's just not likely to get the 4 because the Panthers aren't going to beat Seattle and the Bucs. They're just not that good.
Yeah. So hold on. If let's say the Panthers win against
Seattle.
Do
they have to play the Bucs? Is that game meaningless now for the division?
The Bucs beat the Dolphins.
Let's say the Bucs do beat the Dolphins
and the Bucs win, then the Panthers are playing for their division in Tampa, and then they're going to make that the same time as the Eagles, and the Eagles will have to try against Washington if they lose to Buffalo.
But they would have the same record if the Bucs win at the end.
There is a scenario right now, Ryan.
We hold the tiebreaker with the Bucs because we beat them.
No, sorry. I'm talking about the tiebreaker between Carolina and the Bucs.
The Bucs hold the tiebreaker.
They do.
It could come down to if in week 17 Carolina wins and the Bucs win, then week 18 the winner of that game gets to go to the playoffs.
Yes. And there's a good chance that's what it's going to be. The Eagles, Ryan, at this point, we are cheering for Seattle to beat the Panthers because if they do, it kind of solidifies us if we lose to the Bills that we're just like, hey, we're locked at the 3. Let's take the week against Washington, be healthy, be rested, be ready for the playoffs.
So what do we do if Carolina somehow
beats
Seattle and we lose to Buffalo?
We have to try to beat the Commanders because they're going to make our games the same time.
Oh, and the Commander, did you see Dan Quinn and all them? They're we play them in 2 weeks, and
I know
Bobby Wagner had 40,000 tackles in one game.
But yeah, I understand. But,
that's
what
I'm worried about.
If the Panthers end up winning, it doesn't matter. Or if the Panthers lose, to Seattle.
Yeah. And the Panthers lose, we're pretty much locked into the 3 seed.
So Corey, this is what I want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me and they could be the same or they could be different. What do you want to see in the next 2 weeks where the Rams end up? What do you think will happen and where they will end up? What do you want and what do you think? Are the same or are they different?
I mean, obviously what I want is for them to get back to the first overall seed.
Okay.
I think
So they
I
win
think
out and both Seattle and Niners lose.
if you look at the four
One game.
potential seeds, the Rams just on paper have 25%, and then the other 50% is either Seahawks or 49ers. If you're just
Yeah.
looking at it straight up.
Realistically, for it to happen for you, you need the Niners to probably beat the Seahawks or them to collapse in Carolina.
We need them to lose 16. Really, we need Seattle to lose. I think that's the best route because I don't think I think what's going to happen is in 17.
The issue is, dude, if the Niners lose, Corey, let's say to the Bears or tonight, they won't have a chance to get the 1 seed anymore going into that last week. And so you potentially need them to beat Seattle, and they might not try. They might rest,
Yeah.
knowing, and then just give the game to Seattle, and they give them the 1 seed.
Hold on, but
You
I
have to think
think
about that.
what won't the Niners like? I think the Niners would hold the tiebreak over the Rams, right? They have a
No, not
better.
if the Niners. If the Ryan, think of it as this: if the Niners lose one of the next two, and the Rams win the next, and the Rams win, then the Niners will be a game back of them, even if they beat Seattle. So they can't get the one anymore.
No, like
The
if the Ram.
Rams have according to ESPN,
Oh, they have the
the
tiebreaker.
Rams have the tiebreaker.
Uh,
Yeah.
So Ryan,
Gosh.
it's the tough thing for Corey is for the Rams realistically to make it. They have to win both. That's kind of implied because it's an easy schedule.
Yeah.
They need Seattle to choke to the Panthers. So he's actually
Yes.
cheering for the opposite of what we're cheering for. We want the
Yeah.
Panthers to lose. He wants Seattle to lose because if Seattle loses, that will give San Fran something to play for if they win going into that last game. It'll give Seattle something. Seattle can knock San Fran off, or San Fran could lose to the Colts or the Bears. So you kind of need it to happen, Corey, before that last game.
I agree.
Because
Yeah, we need it to happen week 17.
or
And the
tonight,
odds,
right? The Niners need to lose tonight.
well, we still need Seahawks would
Okay.
still control their own destiny even if the Niners lost night.
Yeah, but it's like, for instance, if the Niners lose tonight, you're cheering for the Panthers on Sunday, and if they knock off the Seahawks, boom, the 1 seed's yours.
The Panthers are sneaky, dude.
Yeah.
They beat these.
They are
They're
playing
They did.
in I actually think that's probably the Rams' best hope is
It is.
for the Seahawks because after coming off of the game they did with the Rams, I feel like they might be in their heads a little bit. They're going to go into the Panthers thinking like all we need to do is win out and then drop one just like the Rams dropped one to the Panthers.
The Panthers are hilarious, dude.
Doesn't really care, dude. The NFL has them favored by 7.5. Just because the Panthers look like trash against the Bucs. They just didn't that good. Their defense can show up though.
Bryce Young.
What do you
Coming up.
think if you had to put $1,000 on it? How do you think the seeding ends up among those NFC West teams?
What a division.
Oh. Well, I'll start simple. I think the 49ers are going to win tonight versus the Colts. Next week, we have
Seahawks.
The Bears at the Niners and the Seahawks at the Carolina.
Yep.
I think the Niners are going to beat the Bears.
Okay.
And in my mind, I think it's a pretty big toss-up between the Seahawks and
Panthers.
Carolina. After seeing them last week, I do kind of think Seahawks are going to figure out how to win.
Okay.
And then I think it's just going to come down to
the
Seahawks versus the Niners and whoever
Which
wins
means
that.
You guys will be locked at the 5.
We'll be locked at the 5.
That going into the last week, so you'll actually rest.
We probably won't play anyone. Yeah.
And you'll just prepare for Panthers Bucks. Basically, you'll be preparing for the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yeah. I think either opponent, that's probably the best seed to be in if you're a wild card. Like not just like obvious from the obvious point of view, but for the Rams, Tampa is so beat up right now. They're just if they get into the playoffs, they're limping into the playoffs.
Tampa
And
was fully healthy against the Panthers, just so you know. Mike Evans back, Chris Godwin back, Bucky Irving, the running back. Everybody's back. They still lost to the Panthers.
but
They're just not that good.
didn't Mayfield get pretty banged up in that game? I thought he hit his shoulder really bad again.
They're healthy. There's no excuse. The
Yeah.
Bucks I mean, they're an average team.
So either way, they're still barely getting the playoffs, whether it's health wise or just skill wise. And if they don't get in, then it's Carolina. And I think Carolina is going to be like teams we've seen in the past. They finally turn the season around, get to playoffs. They're going to lose in the wild card round, call it a great season. Look forward to the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so your prediction would be Eagles get, or if you had to predict it, Rams get to 5.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Ryan, if you had to say what you would want pathwise for the Bears, what would you want?
I mean, technically, I would want the 2 seed just because, like, that's what we were last year, right? And a little bit of positive mojo. But I think realistically, I don't think we're gonna get the 2
Would you
seed.
want the matchup with the Packers as the 7?
I thought you made good points last week of how much we've beat them, like 4 straight times. I feel a lot better that Mike is out, but
the Packers are banged up, but they're
Yeah.
going to have Jacobs, Love, and Watson, their best receiver, back for the playoffs. And they didn't have Watson the first time we played them.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
just lost Kraft, their tight end. So they really were struggling offensively.
hmm So I do think that like a good option for us is to play San Fran, even though I have fears about Kyle Shanahan and whatnot.
Who on San Fran, outside of the coaching staff, fears you? Name me 3 players you're really afraid of. And Brock Purdy better not be one of them. Go ahead.
Trent Williams, number 1.
Okay.
Trent Williams, number
That's
2.
actually a good answer.
Yeah. And like he's a beast. Like CMC.
Okay.
And then
Can't name a
George
third. Ayuk's not there.
George
Fred
Kittle,
Warner's not
dude.
there.
George Kittle,
George
bro.
Kittle.
Post is not there. Freaking George Kittle, dude.
George Kittle.
All right.
So like I
Kittle
don't
and
know.
CMC, basically.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I kind of want the Eagles to get the 3 seed so we can watch the Bears versus the Packers again.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that is
It'd be
like
awesome.
Bears, Packers,
Box office.
Eagles, Niners. Those are great games. Rams, Carolina, or Tampa,
Who
whatever.
wouldn't want to see Rams versus Carolina?
Oh my gosh, just
I want the Rams in Tampa. Don't give me the freaking Panthers in the playoff. That's a snooze fest. Let's see Baker go up and see if he can go toe-to-toe with Matthew Stafford. I already made a prediction for that game, 48-27 Rams. Anyway.
All right, Mike. So let's take it a step further. Question to you. Let's just say the playoffs, like how it's laid out now, is kind of what happens in the NFC.
Bears at the 2. Yep.
Yeah. And then how do you think those games, could go and kind of the matchups for the next round?
So just to be clear, the only team I legitimately fear as the Eagles are the Rams. The Rams are the team. They're the team.
I fear everybody.
Personally, don't want to play until the NFC Championship, and I prefer to play them at home. So technically, to me, a perfect path would be the Niners in round 1. Again, I know they have a great coaching, but I think with what we stated, I think they're just very beatable. Of course, the Eagles could beat themselves in that game, and if they do, we'll bet on them. But you beat the Niners, and then I know this is going to sound wild. I would be cheering for the Bears. I want the Bears. I want to go to Chicago. I want to play Caleb. I just don't think they're that good. They were losing by 10 points to the Packers with 4 minutes left. And the Packers were playing with freaking Malik Willis from Liberty University.
Oh, you.
No
Dude,
Watson, their best.
He had that great
no
pass.
Jacobs, their best running back. And the Bears just like they're a one and done team. Like you can just see it. So I would want the Bears to beat the Packers because then we could go into Chicago and I would take the Niners to Bears. And then at that point, I don't want to play the Rams, but I'm just assuming the Rams are probably going into Seattle. And I think they're getting revenge and they're knocking them off. And they come to Philly for the NFC Championship. To me, it would be epic. That would be a great path. It would be fun to watch. I think that would be honestly the preferred path.
Yeah.
Preferred would be not to have to play the Rams, but at the same time, I want to play the best team in the NFL if we're gonna make it happen.
It was the best game of the playoffs last year.
It was, by far. And that rematch would be pretty incredible. My fear is this. The Rams get 5. The Bears choke because they're just not that good. And then you have the freaking Packers as the 7 go to Seattle, and we host the Rams in the divisional round because they would be the 5. They come to Philly. Seattle plays the Packers. That, to me, is, if I had to put my money on it, the most realistic outcome right now. So believe it or not, because I don't take the Bears that seriously, I'm actually cheering for the Rams to get the 1 because I don't want to play them in the divisional round. I'd rather the Rams get the 1, and then we would host the Niners as the 6. Seattle would knock off Tampa and come to Philly in the divisional round. So we would actually host 2 playoff games and then go to LA in the NFC Championship, which would also be epic. I also would be fine with that path. I just don't want to play the Rams in the divisional round. That, to me, is the only path I don't want. I'm fine with any others. And yes, that would mean literally San Fran week 1, Seattle week 2, Rams week 3. You have to go through the whole NFC West. But it's the best division in the NFL. So,
Mike, what if the Rams get upset by the Panthers and the Bucks, and then the Packers upset the Bears? That means we would get the
yes.
Bucks divisional round. Let's go.
My argument when it comes to the playoffs, unless you're the best team like the Rams, what matters more than how you look at the end of the season, which I was trying to argue this earlier, is not just health, but path. I think path is so undervalued, and people can't even talk about it because they don't even understand everything Corey just laid out in terms of all the possibilities. But when you start to play it out in your head and you know which teams you take seriously and which teams you don't, you know there has to be a path. And in my opinion, the path has to line up for the Birds to make it. If they play the Rams in the divisional round at home, we're not winning that game, in my opinion. I think it's too early in the playoffs. It's a revenge game for the Rams. I know this sounds wild. I just think playing the Rams in the NFC Championship,
I think it's a fair point.
Big games, I think it's a different potential later on in the playoffs. I know it's one extra game. I just think it's different. So I think the path is so important. I truly believe, and people disagree with me, if the Lions beat the Commanders last year in Detroit, I think we'd lose in Detroit. I don't think we would have beat the Lions in that game. I think they would have gone to the Super Bowl. And so I truly believe we were a great team last year, but we don't win the Super Bowl without getting the necessary path to do so. And I think every year that happens. The path plays a role. When we won the Super Bowl in 2017, we got the Falcons instead of the Rams because the Rams choked to the Falcons. I think the Rams could have upset us. And then the NFC Championship game, the Saints should have beat the Vikings in the divisional round. They had that fluke play. We get the Vikings instead of the Saints, and the path lined up perfectly for us to go to the Super Bowl. So I just think path, people take it for granted. They don't realize how important it is and how much it matters.
I totally agree. Except the Chiefs, that one year they went to Cincinnati, won, or went to Buffalo, went to Cincinnati. They beat everybody.
They hosted the Dolphins, then they went to Buffalo and Baltimore.
Oh, sorry, yeah. That's a hard path, and they answered it.
They did. On the road, they did it. Yeah, I don't know.
But the Eagles got so lucky in 2017.
Yes,
I did think last year wasn't super lucky in terms of, except just the Commanders. The Commanders, I agree, was the big luck. I thought the Rams were a super tough divisional opponent. Yes. I thought the Packers could be sneaky in the wild card. I was dreading the Packers initially. I was like,
Yeah, I remember, dude.
But again, I totally agree with you. The Commanders, though, thank you, Commanders.
Yes, seriously. They So what's interesting with Corey's case with the Rams is, with them, the path doesn't seem as important just because they've been the best team in this sense. They're going to have to play probably Seattle or Philly at some point and beat them, right? So, however, where it matters is if I'm the Rams, dude, I'm cheering for the Bears to win. I'm cheering for the Niners probably. Actually, Corey, I don't know. Sorry, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Let's say you're the 5 and you beat the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are playing the Niners. The Packers are playing the Bears. Who do you want to win in those scenarios to create your path moving forward? And remember, depending who wins dictates whether you go to Seattle in the divisional round or whether you go. You could host San Fran.
Yeah, and
Wild.
yeah,
Yeah.
That would be wild.
and he fears San Fran. He
I
always
wouldn't
He
want
has.
to
does,
play
though.
49ers.
So Corey, what you're deciding is,
You
would
want
you
to play Philly, dude.
would you rather? So you're gonna let's say you beat Tampa. Would you rather go to Philly, go to Chicago, host the Niners, or go to Seattle in the divisional round? There's your four options.
I mean, my first choice would be to go Chicago
Go to
because
Chicago.
I don't statistically like you have a young quarterback. They don't typically make it far, and I think the Bears, like we've talked about their strength of schedule. It's below 400. Like they're not a true 12 plus win.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think that's just irrelevant though, because I think anyone would say they want to play
yeah,
Chicago if they
yeah.
had to choose from the upper teams in the playoffs. Outside of that, I would want to play Seattle, even if it's in Seattle.
Go to Seattle over host San Fran or go to Philly.
Yes. Yes.
Why?
That's
Why?
wild.
Because we typically beat Seattle,
And it's a
you
revenge game for you guys.
it's a revenge game, and the Stars had
He's so
to
afraid of the
align.
Niners. He's so afraid of
The
Brock.
Stars had to align for Seahawks to beat us.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
just think
would.
it's funny. You wouldn't want to like you could host San Fran, but you're
Team
treating
number
it as an away game. because
Team
you
number
know-
team number 3, I would want to do the Eagles because
Oh.
I think it would be a revenge game.
Yes.
Um,
4 times in a row.
and I think I don't think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And at some point that means they have to lose. And if the Rams are going in there, that could be that loss.
Yes.
I don't think they're I have a hard time
He puts San Fran last. They're like the least talented team of all of them.
I know. But that stadium turns red
Oh,
when
It does.
the
It
Rams
does.
play the
he
40.
goes
They
3
think
away games. Over
they
a home
think
game.
it's I only have 4 away game options. You only gave me away game options.
That's fair.
I don't know why that's such a funny like scenario to put you through.
I wore red for San Fran.
Oh my gosh.
49ers.
That's so
yeah.
interesting.
I do think I don't see the Eagles, if I'm being honest, making the Super Bowl. I think
Sure.
they're just I think they're just gonna have a fluke game at some point.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see if I said who's gonna make the Super Bowl, I think it could be the Rams, Seattle. I think the 49ers are similar to the Eagles. I think they're just gonna get exposed at some point. I think Chicago's gonna end well, but I don't know if they'll make it all the way. Maybe they kind of are like the Bengals when they played the Rams, like make it all the way to the Super Bowl, lose in the Super Bowl, chalk it up as a good season. I can't see Chicago making it all the way to the Super Bowl,
You
though.
really think they're going to beat the Packers in 3 weeks when the Packers go to Chicago with Jordan Love, with Watson, and with Jacobs? I don't understand.
No
I
Micah.
think they're going to go into Philadelphia during the playoffs and blow them out.
Bears don't. It's not possible beating Chicago.
Hey, the Bears already went into Philly and completely dominated.
Revenge game for the Birds, dude.
Mike remembers his push-ups from it.
Dude, I do, but I'm excited for Ryan's 100 push-ups that he owes me currently because Dallas sucks.
All right.
Dallas.
Speaking of which,
you're
do
right.
you guys want to finish up with our predictions for next week?
Let's do it.
All right. So I do have the
update
predictions pulled up for the updates. So
I'm still down 3.
yeah. Ryan did drop a game. I think you guys probably already went over it from
he
when
dropped
I was gone. He dropped a game, but he still has a 3-game lead on us.
Yo, we got the
So
whole playoffs, dude. We got plenty of time.
No, this is regular season,
the
right?
regular
So it's already over.
Ryan's trying to lock up the first seed
Nope.
here.
Nope.
So there is 4 games left. So and Ryan has to pick first. Oh, there is a way
So
for us.
is picking first? How long does that go
I don't
on?
understand. Corey, we're not doing playoff picks?
Nope, bummer, dude.
No, that's
I think we should, but I think it needs to be like, well, I'd be
Handicap.
okay as long as both teams are still in the playoffs.
So wait, that's what I'm saying. As long as teams are in the playoffs, we have to make picks on them.
Yes.
And that counts. If I had known it was ending in the regular season, I would not have taken the Rams last week. I would have just gone against whatever Ryan said because I know I have to gain a gain on him. I'm expecting I have the playoffs, so I'm a week by. I chose the same teams as him.
But the risk is on us because I say as soon as one of either the Eagles or the Rams fall out of the playoff. But what do we do if
Philip
the Rams
Rivers,
get
25-yard touchdown pass.
There we
No.
go.
Dude.
He
Hey,
looks so happy.
get it.
You can't even see it.
Real dude.
He looks like he just had another
So
kid.
what are we gonna do if the Rams get bye week?
So what do you mean? So like if the Rams get the bye week, we'll do a pick on the Birds in the wild card.
Let's just end it here. I won.
If the Birds win, we do two picks in the divisional round.
All
Dude,
right.
we're doing picks through.
Let's make it simple. We know we're picking at some point during the playoffs. We'll see how it all shakes out to figure it out.
Yep.
But what that means is we do have picks we need to make this week before the time runs out here. The current Mike and I are still tied at 15 and 11. Mike, you do have the tiebreaker.
Wait, I gave the game on you 2 weeks ago. No?
Oh yeah, you did. Wow.
I gained a game.
I missed that. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. I think I'm a game ahead. I think you're 4 back, I'm 3 back.
Yeah, sorry, I totally missed that. So that was
I'm trying to remember who it was.
It was Eagles versus Chargers. I picked the Eagles.
You took the Eagles, yes.
Yeah.
Ryan Chargers. You're 4
All right.
back, I'm 3 back.
So that takes
Once
me
I
to
hold the
12. You're at 16 and 11 overall, and Ryan is at 19 and 8. So yeah, you're 3
I just
back
love
from
how,
Ryan.
dude,
I'm
Ryan's
4.
the best player, unless there's push-ups on the line. And then,
Yeah.
All right.
Unless
So
there's
what-
push-ups,
excited.
then I just suck.
so
All
we
right,
got
so I'll jump
Rams
in.
versus Falcons.
Yep.
What's your Rams versus Falcons and Eagles versus Bills?
Take the
Yeah.
Falcons. Take the
So-
Falcons.
I'll do both of them.
Do it.
I'm
Do it.
trying to win, so I'm gonna go Los Angeles Rams. They're 7.5-point favorites. Favorites. So it's in Atlanta. Don't think it's relevant. They're gonna come fired up. They had extra rest. Rams all day. Then I'm gonna ride with the Bills. I just think the Bills at home, they're I think kind of playing for more, and the Eagles they kind of already made the playoffs. Kind of locked up the 3 seed, maybe not, but I'm gonna go Bills. For prediction, I'm gonna go 28-20 Rams over Falcons, and I'm gonna go 24-21 Bills over Eagles. I do think it's a good game. And I anticipate Lane Johnson limping off in the third quarter. Go ahead, Mike.
I thought you meant first quarter. Dude, he's the new Jason Peters. We got to have someone beat Jason Peters for us. So, considering that our picks continue into the playoffs, I'm not going to differ from what Ryan said.
Oh,
Otherwise, I would. I would take the Birds if we knew, hey, it's this, and then we have to do it. But otherwise, since
you
we
got a
have
jersey on, dude. Roll with them.
since we have the playoff picks, I'm feeling good about it. And I expect Ryan to pick against the Birds in at least a game the Birds will win, so I'll gain a pick, at least one in the playoffs there. So I'm feeling good. But yeah, we're gonna go. Oh, Rams will win by more than that. Wait, I gotta get the score right because that'll give me. I can gain a pick that way. Oh wait, but you guys don't count that. So
That's just tiebreakers.
It's
Yeah,
just
wait,
tiebreaker, dude.
I already have the tiebreaker. Why don't? Okay, I'm not even giving a
You
score.
get double tiebreaker.
And I'll take the Bills over the Birds.
All right. And
Easy.
then we're almost done here, so I'll make it quick. I am going to take the Rams 36-28, and then I'll take the Eagles 24-18.
Oh,
24.
Corey's just trying to make up ground. He doesn't believe
Yep.
in the Eagles.
Dude,
I am.
He's either going to sink himself or get back tied with me, though
Yep.
he's still losing the tiebreaker. So
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for another good week. Mike, thanks for hosting.
yeah, boys.
Go Birds, go Rams.
Horns up.
Horns up. As
Fins
Mark
up,
Ferris.
boys.
Fins up.
Fins up. That wraps up this week's episode of Coast to Coast Sports. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share the show with a fellow football fan. From Philly to LA and around the league, we'll be back next week with more sports talk.